Well, Senator, we're going to talk politics and policy, but
Great.
we're going to talk politics first. We arguably face some of the biggest challenges. You have to set yourself apart from a field of 15 for now, very likely to grow from here. You belong to a party that professes to be from Main Street, not Wall Street, but you represent New York, practically synonymous with Wall Street, and you gauge the support of Wall Street executives when considering running for president. How do you overcome that challenge or perception that you're more tied to Wall Street than, let's say, everyday Americans like who live in Iowa or Illinois?
For sure. So I'm running for president because I believe I'm brave enough to take on the fights that others won't. In fact, I stood up to Wall Street when I was an upstate congresswoman and voted against the bank bailout twice. I stood up to the Pentagon when they wanted to deny men and women who are serving in our military, dying for our country based on who they love. I stood up to Congress when they didn't want to pass a law that banned insider trading by members of Congress and got that done. And part of my story tells you why I think I'll be the strongest person to stand up to President Trump. I got my start in politics in upstate New York, in a rural area, not unlike lots of parts of Iowa. I grew up in upstate New York. My first congressional race was in a 2-to-1 Republican district. I won that district twice.
We know that story.
First by 6 points, second time by 24 points, and then spent the next 10 years serving the whole state, bringing the state together. And as senator from the whole state of New York, I had the highest vote total in the history of the state at 72% because I was able to bring together the red parts of our state, blue parts, and purple parts. And then in Congress, I've been able to do the same thing with Republican colleagues, asking members of Congress from across the aisle to work on bipartisan bills with me. Big ideas like Don't Ask, Don't Tell repeal, and making sure our first responders have health care in the 9/11 health bill, and sometimes smaller ideas, but equally as important, getting more money for rural broadband in the last Congress.
And you promised not to take corporate PAC money or donations from federal lobbyists. Now, though, you did take corporate PAC money when you ran for the House and Senate. If this is so important to you now, why wasn't it important to you then?
Well, we really need to get money out of politics. One of the things that I'm going to take on as president is how Washington works. It is corrupted. It has everything that happens in Washington is largely because of corruption and greed. And when you can't pass common sense gun reform, it's because the NRA is standing in the way. And the NRA is largely funded by the gun manufacturers that want to sell more weapons no matter what, even if someone's on the terror watch list, even if it's a teenager in a Walmart, even if it's someone with a grave mental illness or a violent background or a violent criminal conviction. That's why they oppose universal background checks. So I want to take on the system that money is king. And so the first step in that is banning corporate PAC money, saying no to federal lobbyist money, not having a personal super PAC. All of that is just a good first step.
But are you afraid or worried that supporters or voters out there might see that inconsistency in your politics?
No, because you have to begin to get money out of politics somewhere, so you might as well start here. But my goal is to have publicly funded elections. We ultimately need to get all money out of politics because our country needs to restore this democracy back to the hands of the people. This country should be run on a democracy that's of, by, and for the people. So you and me talk about what this congressional district, what this state needs, what this community needs. That's why I'm doing town halls. I'm doing my first Iowa town hall tonight. I was in one of your local breweries last night talking to folks about the issues they care about. That's what our democracy should look like, where the people get to ask the questions of what are you going to do as president? What are you doing for me now? What are you going to do in the future? And what's your vision? And that's why I've been talking about things that they want to talk about. Healthcare is a right, not a privilege. Fixing our public schools, making sure someone can earn their way into the middle class and earn more money and have the protections of a union and being able to collectively bargain. All those things matter because people just want to provide for their kids.
Now you